Session we learn about errors. In fact, errors are the uncertainties which creep in measuring the things. What do you mean by uncertainty? That means we are not sure of the exact value of measurement. So now we learn about different types of errors. There are basically two types of errors. One is systematic, another is random error. First we learn systematic errors because systematic errors can be minimized or can be removed because they are all one-sided, either positive side or negative side. Say in systematic error there are three types. First one is instrumental error. I will give you a simple example for this. When you are using a scale, say if edge of the scale, zero end of the scale worn out, sometimes by many times using the scale, the edge of the scale becomes blunt. Say sharp edge scales are like this, but once we use them for many years, they become, they worn out like this. And because of this, 0 centimeter mark may not be exact there. So this is what we call as instrumental error that can be fixed by using suitable instrument. Next one, imperfection in experimental techniques. That means our experimental technique itself is not proper. That can be minimized by using suitable experimental techniques. Last one in systematic error is personal errors. Here personal errors means by prejudice of the one who is doing the experiment and how he takes the readings, all those things comes into thing, and finally the errors will creep in. And one important idea is when we look into some scales, we may look from this side, one side, not from the straight. Then this creates an error called as parallax error. That's also a personal error. So these are the three different types of systematic errors. But now, very important thing about the errors is random errors. Because systematic errors can be minimized or completely eliminated. But random errors always there whenever we do the experiment. What are random errors? They are irregular variations in the experimental setup or abrupt changes in the experimental setup may cause this type of errors. That's why we call them as random errors. Now, here and in coming things, we learn what are random errors, how to minimize them, and how to estimate the errors occurred in the particular measurement. All those things we have to learn. Now, first of all, in random errors, say which are caused because of the abrupt changes in the situations of the experiment, we think of like this. Say, random error means due to abrupt changes. How do we measure that? Say we take a physical quantity A, which is to be measured. Then, if the error created there is delta A, a small variation in A, then this delta A is called as absolute error in measuring A. Absolute error in measuring A. And also, observe, when we take a measurement, we do many trials. Say, in measuring A, I take in the first trial A1, in the second experiment A2, repeating the same experiment A3, repeating the one more time, we get A4. So, when we take many readings like this for the same quantity, and if we take the average of all these things, that means A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4 divided by 4. We call this value as average value of A or true value of A. Average value or mean value or true value. All these are one and the same. Say, this is what we mean by average or true value. So, in random error minimization and estimation, we first take as many trials as possible. Once we take the trials and readings, we take the mean value. That means summing all the readings divided by number of readings what we get mean value or true value. Then absolute error is the difference between mean value and the corresponding reading. Say, mean value I call it as A, capital A, or A mean we write. A mean. Then absolute error. How do we calculate absolute error? Delta A, it is just, I take in the first trial delta A1 as A mean difference A1. That means mean value or true value of A, difference A1. Difference A1. In the same manner, delta A2 I can take. A mean difference A2. In the third trial, we can write delta A3 as A mean difference, say A3. In the same manner for A4, delta A4, absolute error in a fourth trial is A mean difference A4. Likewise, for any number of trials we can calculate the absolute error. But very important thing is, we have to take the mean value of the absolute error or mean absolute error we call. Mean absolute error we call, and mean absolute error is written as delta A1. As an example I am giving you like this. Delta A3, delta A4 by 4. This is what we call as delta A mean or delta A simply. Say delta A1 plus delta A2 plus delta A3 plus delta A4. If there are 10 readings, it goes like this. Divided by 4, if there is 10, here also it becomes 10. Then delta A. Delta A is mean absolute error. Once we calculate mean absolute error, we can write or we can report the final answer in measuring the A, or in final measurement of A is given as A plus or minus delta A. Say A is A mean, delta A is delta A mean. This is how we report any reading there. So once again, to recap what all we learnt. In errors, there are two types, systematic and random errors. In systematic, there are three errors: instrumental errors, imperfection in experimental settings or experimental techniques, and finally, the personal errors. After that, the random errors, they are due to the abrupt changes or random changes in the experimental situation that can be minimized but cannot be removed. These random errors can be minimized, but how? For that, our random errors can be estimated, but how we do that? For that, we learn one thing. Say, whenever we take many measurements for a single thing, single physical quantity, then we sum all of them to get a main value of the given measured physical quantity. Say, that's what I explained here. A1, A2, A3, A4 are 4 trials in measuring the A. Then we took the average A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4 by 4, what is called as, say, average value or mean value or true value. Say, once we know that, we can calculate absolute error also. Absolute error in each trial is, say, delta A mean difference A1, delta A mean difference A2. Likewise, delta A3 is A mean difference A3, delta A4 is A mean difference A4, like that. Therefore, once we get absolute errors in each trial, we go for mean absolute error. We take the mean average of all those things. That will give us mean absolute error. And how do we report the, say, measured value for A is like this. A mean plus or minus delta A. Delta A is average absolute error. So with these things, there's one more type of error, what we call as least count error. Say, as we said, in case of precision, once you have a 1 millimeter scale, least measuring thing is 1 millimeter. You cannot measure half millimeter or so. That is what we call as least count error. If you want to minimize the least count error, we have to use good resolution instrument. Like that, that means instead of 1 millimeter scale, you can use half millimeter scale, like that, for the one division, half millimeter in one division, like that. If you want, you can increase the resolution, thereby you can measure more precisely. So that is what we call as least count. We learn how the errors flow when we measure physical quantities and we add them or subtract them or multiply them or divide them. As usual, things when we do measurements for velocity, area, volume, like that. Now, we first learn how the error flows in addition and then subtraction and finally multiplication and division. First thing, say, I consider two physical quantities A and B. Let us say A has mean absolute error delta A, B has mean absolute error delta B. Then, how the error flows when they get added. That means I call Y a physical quantity as A plus B. The addition of measured quantity A and addition of measured quantity B. So, once we add these things, how do we get error in A plus B? Once we add them, for that I write like this, Y plus or minus delta Y. What I can write as A plus or minus delta A plus B plus or minus delta B. Now we rearrange the terms, V A plus B together, and plus or minus can be taken common factor, delta A plus delta B. Say Y plus or minus delta Y. But observe, Y is A plus B, this Y cancels with A plus B. Therefore, delta Y is delta A plus delta B. That is, absolute error in quantity Y, which is sum of A and B, will be equal to sum of the absolute errors in individual quantities A and B. Similarly, we can show for subtraction also. I will show you that. Y equals A minus B we take now. Then Y plus or minus delta Y can be written as A plus or minus delta A minus B plus or minus delta B. Now, we rearrange the terms, A minus B plus or minus taken out, delta A plus delta B only. Again, say Y plus or minus delta Y. A minus B cancels with Y. Therefore, delta Y is nothing but delta A plus delta B again. That means in addition or subtraction, the absolute errors get added to give the final absolute error. That means whenever we add two physical quantities or many physical quantities, the absolute errors also get added. Whenever you subtract two or more physical quantities, their absolute errors get added. Don't subtract it. They also get added. That means error always increases. Even when you subtract, it will not get subtracted. It gets added with that. So once we learnt summation and subtraction, we learn how the error flows in multiplication, the product. So we start learning it now. Just observe. I take again A and B only. But now the y is product of a and b. How the error flows, we want to learn now. But before that, we learn one more idea, what we call as relative error. Relative error. Relative error means absolute error divided by its true value. Absolute error divided by its true value, delta A by A, delta B by B, are called as relative errors. Now, with that, we start with product, how the error flows in product. I write y plus or minus delta y, where delta y is the error as usual. Now I write a plus or minus delta a into b plus or minus delta b. We multiply by opening the bracket. AB plus or minus a delta b plus or minus b delta a. I am multiplying with delta a now, and then plus or minus delta a delta b. Observe here, one approximation we make. Say till now what you have not used in your high school classes, we use it now. Say delta A, delta B are very small. Delta A, delta B, their product is very small. Therefore, we can neglect this last part. That is delta A, delta B is very small, negligibly small. So I can write approximately AB plus or minus A delta B only, plus or minus b delta a, and here on this side y plus or minus delta y. Observe now, y is ab, so I cancel that. Now I have delta y is, we write delta y equals, if you want you can take plus or minus outside, that also get cancelled. We can simply write a delta b plus b delta a. This is the error committed when we take the product a delta b, that is true value of a multiplied by error in b, plus b true value of b multiplied by error in a. But now when we multiply or when we divide, we usually concerned with relative errors, not with the absolute errors. By calculating the relative error, we come back to absolute error later on. That's why what we do now, we calculate the relative error in y. For that I divide this both sides by y, that is AB. I write delta y by y, that is relative error in y, is equal to a delta b by y plus b delta a by y. Now we substitute for y. Say delta y by y is a delta b by y is ab plus b delta a by ab. Now cancel the relative say terms there. What you have, delta y by y, the relative error in y is delta a, I write first, a plus delta b by b. That means when you want to calculate relative error in case of product of two physical quantities, the sum of individual relative errors get added. That is, relative error in one product is equal to sum of relative errors in individual quantities. That is, delta y by y is delta a by a plus delta b by b. Similarly, in division also we can show same thing. Again, there also the relative error get added only. There will be no subtraction. And with this, I want to pose you a challenge. Once you learn all these things, can you tell me now how the error flow when you have power of a physical quantity, say a to the power of n, a to the power of 2, say length square area L square, how the error flows that you can think of. For ideas we just learnt, we go through this numerical, what is given in our NCERT textbook. We read, we measure the period of oscillation of a simple pendulum in successive measurements the readings turn out to be 2.63 seconds, 2.56 seconds, 2.42 seconds, 2.71 seconds, 2.80 seconds. Calculate absolute errors, relative error and percentage error. Say first of all, to do all these things, we have to calculate true value or mean value. What is mean value? As we have learned, we have to take average of all this. That was what I write as T mean. Say T mean means T1, where I call 2.63 as T1, I have written 2.56 as T2, 2.42 as T3, 2.71 as T4, 2.80 as T5. So T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus T4 plus T5 by 5. We write all the things. First one 2.63 plus second one 2.56 plus third one 2.42 plus fourth one 2.71 plus last one 2.80 divided by 5. This will give us 2.624 due to two-digit resolution, significant figure idea, what we learn later on. I keep it as only 2.62 seconds. So this is true value or mean value of T, the period. Now we are asked to calculate absolute error. That means you have to subtract, say, any particular reading T1 from T mean or T2 from T mean, T3 from T mean. We get absolute errors in each calculation. We do that now. Say I write absolute error. Error in say T1 measurement is, say T mean minus T1, which is T mean is 2.624, 62 minus 2.63, which is absolute. I have to take, no need to take minus or plus. That's why we write T mean difference. That's much better. Therefore here 0.01 second absolute error, that I call as delta T1. Similarly in T2, T mean difference T2, what is absolute of 2.62 minus 2.56, which amounts to be 0.06 seconds. So that is absolute error in second trial. Now we write absolute error in measuring T3. T3 is T mean difference T3, which amounts to be 2.62 minus 2.42, which is equal to 0.2 seconds. Similarly T4, T mean difference T4 2.62, 2.71 divided by, these are all absolute values. Say no question of plus or minus. Say 2.62 minus 2.7, no division. So we straight away subtract 0.09, sorry, 0.09, that's right, 0.09. Next, in T5, T mean difference T5 2.62, difference 2.80 with average modulus value 0.12 seconds. So these are the 5 absolute errors in each trial: 0.01, 0.06, 0.2, 0.09, 0.12. So that is our first calculation, absolute errors. Next, we have to calculate the mean absolute error. Mean absolute error, mean absolute error, I calculate, but I write it on this side. Mean absolute error, we write mean absolute error is delta t equals delta t1, delta t2, delta t3, delta t4 plus delta t5 by 5. We write all the things. First one, delta t1 is 0.01 plus 0.06 plus 0.2 plus 0.12 plus say 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0.2, 0.12, 0.09, one left there, whole divided by 5. This amounts to be the value we have to calculate that. We add this 0.07, 0.97, 0.27, 0.37, 0.39, 0.39, 0.48. 0.48 by 5. I hope we are right. We'll just add it. 617, 0.27, 0.37, 0.39. 0.39 plus 9 is 0.48, right? 0.48 by 5 is, say I write it on this side, delta t equals 0.096 seconds. Once we get delta t, we can go for, say, absolute error calculation, that is relative error calculation, delta t by t, 0.096 by t is 2.62. You calculate the value on your own. In the same manner, percentage error means delta t by t, what you get, into 100. This is what we call as percentage error. You just calculate by this number into 100 on your own. So that is how we calculate the things. And finally, once again to say, to conclude this, how do we report the answer, or how do we write the answer, or how do we keep the final answer is like this. Say t equals t mean plus or minus delta t. I write t mean is 2.62 plus or minus delta t is 0.096 seconds. So this is how we keep the final answer for period of oscillation.